This is Karthik from IDS. We'll wait for a few more minutes. We'll start in the next 3 to 4 minutes time. This is Karthik from IDS. Welcome to the show. Welcome to our second webinar. So today we'll talk about how do you grow ADR and RevPAR for the hotel by improving the guest experience. So this is a series of webinars from IDS, and so the first webinar was about 2 months back, where we discussed about the impact of revenue and guest service management. So the impact of guest service and how positive or negative it impacts the revenue. And this is our second show, and this will be a series of webinar shows that will be conducted by IDS. So today we have two speakers who is going to talk about this topic. So hosted by Jacob, who is the Vice President of IDS, and the presenter will be from Kepsla. He is Deepak Mavenkar, who is the founder and CEO of Kepsla, a hotel reputation management company who has got thousands of clients on board. So before I leave the floor open for Jacob and followed by Deepak to start, so quick housekeeping rules. So we'll start the event now. Jacob is going to present in a minute, and any questions that you have, you can actually ask questions using the chat option that is there in the tool. In the bottom section, you'll be able to see chat. So you can actually click on it and leave questions there. We will actually have the last 15 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes only for Q&A. So we'll go through the chat log and keep answering the questions. Even if we could not answer during the meeting, we'll still answer to you offline. We'll get back to you offline. So that will be the operating procedure. So let's start now, and over to Jacob.
Thank you very much, Karthik, for the introduction. Good evening to everybody who has joined in today's webinar. Today's topic is how to grow ADR and RevPAR by improving guest experience. And this is co-presented by ourselves and our partner, Kepsla. My name is Jacob, and I do business development and sales for IDS Next. We begin by understanding the importance of online reputation for hospitality briefly before I switch presentation to our partner, who are the experts on the subject. Now, as you're all aware, we have seen a tremendous growth in the amount of online reviews. Earlier days, it used to be just TripAdvisor, but now it has grown to various portals, and the number of portals are ever increasing, from 20% in 2015 to 22% in 2016, and so on. And on the right-hand side of the screen, you will find that the response to the reviews are also increasing. Now, one is the guests writing reviews about the hotels. Secondly, it is about the hoteliers responding to reviews. There is tremendous growth in both of these areas, as you can see from the screen. Now, what is the power of online reviews? 9 out of 10 travelers think that reading an online review is very important. Let's say you're visiting a place that you have not visited before, and you see 2 hotels, you are narrowed down and shortlisted. What we are presenting today is, like I have mentioned earlier, the power of online reviews. Now, 95% of today's traveler depends on the online reviews and the response to those reviews that they see online. Now, if you look at the Cornell Study, which is shown in this particular score for a particular hotel, you can see that if there is a 1% increase in the hotel's online reputation, cover the following topics. One is the understanding the difference between ADR and RevPAR, the importance of online reputation in relation to ADR and RevPAR, attract the right guest to your hotel by mapping your strengths to guest personas, tracking the guest's happiness quotient from booking to checkout, understanding every guest's requirements and building a product that suits them. Encourage your present guests to be your best salesmen and to grow direct bookings and reduce distribution costs. These are the various topics now we are going to have, Okay, so we introduced you our partner Kepsler. Now, what Kepsler does is review intelligence, which means they collect feedback and guest reviews from across various portals in various languages, convert it into uh, particular reviews that are understandable in various sentiments. Now, they do something known as a sentiment analysis, in which the feedback is grouped into positive sentiment, neutral sentiment, negative sentiments, and so on. They also do feedback management, which means real-time feedback, which means that before your guest leaves the hotel, we ensure that you have a lot of feedback collected and action taken so that they don't end up posting negative reviews once they're outside of the hotel. They also have TREX, which is travel recommendation. All of these would be presented to you shortly. And a brief snapshot about Kepsler in terms of their customers, in terms of their partnerships, integrations, awards and recognitions. With this, I present to you Mr. Deepak Mavinkulve, who is the founder and CEO of Kepsler. He was the founding member of Travel Guru, which was acquired by Travelocity and Yatra. He's with us for this particular webinar, and I hand over this session to him to take it forward.
All right. Okay, first of all, thank you all very much for making it to this event on a weekday in the afternoon, and I hope we can add value to you with this simple small presentation. Today, as businesses get more complex and the standards are becoming a little more difficult every time to understand what's the right metrics to track a customer. As hoteliers, I guess at some point you keep feeling, is life too complicated? Was it simpler earlier when there wasn't so much of data and analytics, etc.? So what I'll try and do. So what we are trying to do over the next 15-20 minutes is, as quickly as possible, break down these into simple, doable analytics and doable data points, so that it's easier for you to track customer experience metrics, right? So basically, just to set standards, I'm talking about what's an ADR and a RevPAR. I know it's a stupid thing to say to expert hoteliers like yourselves, but simple way of looking at what ADR is room revenues earned over number of rooms sold, and so is RevPAR. And we look at the first one of ADR into occupancy gives you a RevPAR. However, what we would encourage you to do is go beyond these base terminologies of ADR and RevPAR and look at total revenue per available room rather than just revenue per available room, and then to the next level of operating profits per available room. So here you're not just tracking revenues, but you're also tracking expenses and looking at gross operating profit. And when you look at the right metrics, you look at TRevPAR and GOPAR as your next big criteria that you need to track, right? The first thing that when we talk to a lot of customers in the hotel space, say that, hey, you know what, I'm already at an 80-90% occupancy, I'm doing a great, I'm achieving all my targets, so what else can I do to make sure that our revenues go up? And to them, what we suggest is, while you may think that your occupancies are right, you're doing everything right, are you attracting or talking to the right sort of customer? We have this great, probably we can share it with you at some point, case study of a customer of ours who was based in Tirupati. It's a 3-4 star property there, and what one identifies with a town like Tirupati is that most travelers there are business travelers, are leisure travelers who are going there to visit the temple for a pilgrimage. And that's the precondition that all of us set, and so a lot of packages are built around helping the traveler come in there and get the darshan, etc. We were able to identify for this particular hotel that while there is a significant amount of traveler who's coming there for the darshan, there was also a large chunk of customers who are coming there for non-pilgrimage purposes, which could be business, etc. And the revenue that the hotel was earning from these customers was much more than the pilgrimage customers. So, what was the hotel missing an opportunity here to understand how they could make more money out of more customers being coming in from the non-pilgrim segment rather than the standard acceptable pilgrim segment is something that the hotel could think of when they look at deep data on customers. So it's really important for us to analyze the type of customer who's coming here. In this slide, you can talk about what are the different reasons that typically customers travel for, and this data can help you kind of figure that out. Here's a very interesting look at, and this is a Google Boston Consulting Group study as to how Indian consumers look at and do their bookings. Very interestingly, about 46 days are spent before they take a decision. And again, important point here is that every time they come into this to do research, they're spending less than 3 minutes per session. So what it tells you is when the customer is looking to decide where they want to travel, their attention span is so much shorter, and it is that 2 or 3 minutes that you get that you need to convert them. Where are they looking for this data? Largely, of course, OTAs. 64% of them look at OTAs. Search engine maps, offline resources still kind of have a 12%. But when we talk about OTAs, we are talking about both the booking sites where there is large content, as well as the reviewer, the verified review sites where there is like TripAdvisor, Holiday IQ, Holiday Check, etc., where there are data points. So it's important that your presence is available in all of these places for the customer to know about you before they make a booking. Like what we spoke about some time back, I'll move on to the next slide. Different type of travelers get attracted to different attributes within your hotel. It's important that you identify the traveler and make sure that when you talk to that traveler base, you are stressing on the strength of that attribute that is popular in your hotel. Today, because technology is able to drive marketing and advertising at a persona level, this is a very easy thing to do. And basis that, then you can, once you attract the right customer, there's an opportunity to upsell to these audience. Move on to the next topic of tracking the guest happiness quotient from booking to checkout. So here's a very interesting slide that we picked up from Focusrite. If you look at the way a customer journey happens from the time that they decide to travel to the time that they get back, if you see till the time they book and they reach your destination, there is a happiness that happens, right? And once they start experiencing your property, the happiness, there are two things that can happen. Either the happiness quotient goes up, which is the blue line that's going up, or if there is a problem between the expectation and what they get, then the yellow line comes in, that it goes down. So it's really important to keep that gap as low as possible. Yeah, it's easier said than done, but the closer it is, it's very important that you win back that customer. So happiness line continues, then from happiness becomes loyalty, and from loyalty, then it's easier to win back a customer. So it's really important that as hoteliers, we track the customer's happiness quotient across this entire journey. You definitely get a lot of tools that help you track this journey, and this is what will make you win customers much more easily. So very easy again, in terms of how do you keep a guest happy. Make sure that while they 2 days, 3 days prior the check-in, you are well aware of what the guest requires. And then once the guest arrives, make sure that there is the right technology available for them to connect with you. There is a lot of talk in the market about using a WhatsApp or a Messenger, etc. Probably it doesn't suit all sorts of guests. You know your customers best, but the key is across pre-check-in, while the guest is in hotel, how do you keep your hands on the pulse of the customer so that you are aware of on real time the happiness quotient of the customer. This helps make sure that before the guest leaves the hotel, there's a happy guest who's going to go out and talk positive about you. So this is the age of personalization, right? Everybody expects that wherever I go, I need to be recognized. There is enough data in the market today. You yourselves as hoteliers own a lot of data about your guests, and this is something that you've been doing in small bits and pieces as long as there is relevant data available with you. One of the ways of personalizing is that you have a CRM, and then the CRM is able to track your specific customers. You're able to give them their birthday wishes, anniversaries, etc. But in realistic terms, a lot of times this personalization may not be available to you in data formats. So here's when technology can kick in. Here's when you figure out that hey, you can club your customers into different buckets and still continue to personalize to each of them products and services that you have to ensure that while they may still be first-time travelers, you still understand their requirements based on the type of traveler they are. Here's some of the ways. There's a lot of text here, so I don't want to go into each one of them, but here's some of the ways that you can do it, and we'll share this presentation with you so you can look at it later. So we spoke about this some time back in terms of the type of traveler and what attracts each of these travelers. So if I am visiting a hotel with my family, my requirements vary from why I would travel there on business, and each of this has a different attribute within your hotel that can be helpful. So here's how you need to track these attributes and connect it to the right customer, and that's when you are able to personalize in an occasion where you do not have strong CRM data available with you. This is the best way to get more customers, which is to ensure that that you're able to make each of your guests a salesman for yourself. The number of people today writing reviews is going up dramatically. 70% of 3% of reviewers wrote a review in order to share their positive experience with others. And if you see the number, while 4.21 to 4.23 does not seem significant, please understand the scale that we are talking about. So there is a growth in the number of reviews that are growing, and it's, again, there is data to show who writes reviews, who doesn't write reviews. One of the things that a lot of people talk about, sorry, I jumped a slide, is on who writes a review. So typically all of us think that it's either a very, very happy customer who writes a review or somebody who's really unhappy who writes a review. Our sense, and by understanding the way the market works, we figure that it's not about why a customer is writing a review. It's about how are you able to ask them the right questions so that it motivates them to write a review. So putting together the right type of questionnaire is critical, and this needs a lot of thought. So whatever your points of sales are, so yeah, so it's really critical that you're asking the right questions so that it motivates your customers to write. And And again, it's really important that a page like a TripAdvisor, etc., has a combination of all sorts of reviews. So obviously we're human, so you don't expect everybody to be happy and everybody to be unhappy. So there is a good mix of happy and an unhappy customer. And the key is, how are we as hoteliers reacting to each of the questions? Somebody wants to be a presenter. Reason, please. You're not able to hear, or you have a point to share? Okay. I moved on to the next slide, which is the last one around loyalty. There is a lot of play by the OTAs to keep customers happy and attracted towards them with large marketing spends. However, we are now seeing that larger hotel chains are building strong loyalty programs to make sure that their customers stay with them. While you may think that it is easy for the larger hotels to build attractive loyalty programs, it is, even if you're a small and a medium-sized hotel, you could still build your own loyalty programs and continue to attract your guests. Is something that each of us needs to think of. There are enough products in the market where you could pick up a simple loyalty program and start this right away. These are, again, software-enabled solutions, so it's very simple to implement them. Some data which talks about loyalty is that, especially this year, frequent flyer loyalty the hotels have been growing their loyalty programs a big way, and what they see is that once there is that aspect of loyalty that's coming in, the hotel's able to almost increase their revenue by 50%, and 57% is the gain per year that they see. So and this is, again, not spread just to large hotels, but even to smaller and boutique properties, that these programs can be added. Here's a simple case study that we did about 8 months back. Was it on how using TripAdvisor you could improve direct bookings and reduce your commission costs. And these are real numbers, and this is just a 1 month data. Right? This is a hotel 3-star property in Bangalore, and this was, I think, the month of March, somewhere there. That we took a 1 month test with this hotel to grow their direct revenues from 14,000 odd to 37,000. So almost 50% over last month in terms of direct bookings, just by focusing on reviews, reply to reviews, encouraging customers to write reviews, use technologies where customers can track or write reviews while they are in the hotel, etc. We moved their ranking from 235 to 71. Occupancy rate, of course, went up, but very, very critical is this data point that on the incremental bookings that they got, their cost of distribution went down to as low as 3% from an existing 25%. So the incremental bookings that came in at almost zero to very minimal distribution costs. So this is a story of a one hotel, 3-star, 45-50 room property in Bangalore, but we find each of these characteristics to be relevant to any sort of hotel that's available around. That's in some sense a very quick conclusion of what we wanted to talk about, that and connect that to what we do as Kepsla, right? It's important that we are that a customer's journey that begins from an inspiration to research and experience and advocacy is where each of us needs to be when we are making a booking. And we as Kepsla have products and solutions that take us across the entire journey. We have 3 products. Jacob spoke about them very quickly. I'll explain that as well. First is a BI tool, which is a review intelligence solution. This is a backend tool that sits with you, which we have integrated with IDS. So it's a single sign-on that you get to see it. and it tells you everything that's right and wrong about your business from your customer's viewpoint. We have a personalization platform that is a web-based solution that sits on your brand.com website that encourages you to do your customers when they come on your website to make direct bookings, and then the feedback management system that we talk about, which is tracking the customer from the time they check in to the time they check out, so from a pre-check-in to a post-checkout basis. So I just want to stress on that because I think that's our most interesting product at this point in time. As partners with TripAdvisor, Holiday IQ, Google, and Holiday Check, we kind of have covered most of the large content sites, and we are able to track customers across the pre-check-in, stay, and post-stay process. That was a quick wrap up. I'm sorry if it kind of went a little out of sync because of some technology issues that you faced at some point in time, and we faced at some point in time. Sorry about that. What I will do is quickly move this presentation, the presenter back to IDS, and then we can ask if you have questions. Happy to answer them. Just give me a minute, please.
Okay, thank you, Deepak. So now we can actually go. We can actually the participants, you can ask your questions in the chat window, which is right below the microphone symbol. So you can post your questions there, and Deepak will be able to answer.
There was a Mr. Tangaraj who wanted to say something.
So there is a first question from Sachin. Deepak, you can see it in the chat window. So the question is, do you support any channel manager?
In fact, most of them. So you name them, we are there. Who do you work with? Sachin, who do you work with?
He has replied saying Resnex.
Yep. Yes, of course we are there. And yeah, so you could get in touch with, I think Balaji is the person at Resnex that you can talk to.
So Jessim and Sukomal, who's asking for the slides, we will be sharing it with you. We'll also be sharing the webinar recording with all of you.
Jay, your question is that your business from IBIBO has moved on to MMT. So what does that mean? Is that not good for you? So I mean, as you would know that IBIBO and MMT are same company more or less. I mean, while they are different brands, but it's a single company. So I guess it's part of their strategy. I don't know.
Deepak, there is a question from Mr. Veera Raghava.
Is Kepler connected with Star? No, we're not connected with Star as yet. But if there is a requirement, then we could talk to Star and get ourselves connected. Is there a specific product that you're looking for that is of interest to you? Okay. So Veera, I got your question. So two things. One is while at this point we are not connected to Star, but to connect to get the review intelligence solution from us, you don't have to be connected to a channel manager. It's a SaaS product, so you just log in and it's available for you. Yeah, there's a question: can we improve TripAdvisor? Is that TAR means TripAdvisor reviews? Is that right? From FOM.
Yes, Deepak. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I mentioned in the presentation, improve is a very kind of a difficult word. So, you know, when you talk about reputation, what comes out is how good or not good you are, right? So we have a solution where you can improve the number of reviews that go in there, and as long as your processes, your system, and your product is good, it will show up well. But Can we do something to improve the ratings that are being given? No, we don't do that. That's not that's not ethically correct, and we would not encourage anyone who does that. However, we will give you all solutions to ensure that you get more reviews coming on TripAdvisor or any place like that, or on your own website.
Deepak, there is a question
Is there
from
any chance that
Sukamal Sarkar.
uh,
We are a hotel in Tanzania, and this month the TripAdvisor reviews are less, though we are at number one.
okay, good consultative question. So, do is this low season for you, first of all? And if not, then what's your average occupancy or checkout rate to reply to reviews is something that we need to check. So typically, TripAdvisor says that about 7 to 12% of customers who check out write reviews. If you're not falling in that bracket, then yes, there is a problem. As blatantly as I could, we have a solution that solves the problem, where the feedback management system that we have starts collecting customer reviews while the guest is in hotel, the TripAdvisor reviews while the guest is in hotel, and when they check out, they just need to fill a small part of the questionnaire and the review goes out. So in terms of fatigue of writing a review, it's reduced largely. So we've seen dramatic improvements in the way some of our customers have seen their TripAdvisor's review growing. So you could try that product of ours. Jesse was asking a question, sorry, how to grow. So Jesse, are you not able to see the screen now?
He's late.
Okay. Sukamal, yes, Review Express is something that Trip is giving at no cost. This is just emails that are going out to all checked out customers. In partnership with TripAdvisor, we have kind of upgraded this product drastically, wherein it's not just that the guest is getting a questionnaire at the end of his trip, but with a lot of questions answered. So like I said, it's going to help the guest close the questionnaire faster if you use a product like ours. So maybe you could talk to your IDS representative and we could do a demo or send you videos of how this happens.
Okay. There's a question from Raghava. Can we send feedback from the customer who has done booking over the OTA? So irrespective of where the customer has done the booking from, it lands in Hotel ERB, which is IDS Next. And since Gibson is connected to IDS Next, you should technically be able to send feedbacks before check-in, after check-in, and after stay. That's not an issue.
And Jacob, just to add, and if we've got Veera Raghuva's question right, even if the customer is booked on a Make My Trip or an IBBO, you could still get them to write reviews for you that go into TripAdvisor or Holiday IQ or Google or any of these. So while the OTA on their own will try and collect reviews for you, from your customer for their website, on your own you could conduct that effort.
Absolutely.
Yes. So sorry, I'm jumping questions. Is there an order? So Sukamal, you asked IDS Next also connected to TripAdvisor, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So the Review Express is I think the idea solution. Maybe Jacob, you can answer that.
We do have a connection with TripAdvisor, but unfortunately, TripAdvisor connection is only for that particular portal. What we are talking about here is about a connectivity to collect reviews from various portals that include TripAdvisor. So you have the ability to cover more than around 150 odd websites where you get reviews on your hotel in various It is all brought into one window where you could answer the questions or the reviews from your guests. So that's the power that we're talking about. TripAdvisor connectivity is 50% only.
Yeah, yes, correct. So with the review intelligence solution, you get to see your customer reviews written in over 120 websites in about 30 different languages around the world. So you don't need to know German or Chinese or Japanese to decipher this. So we will do that for you. A single screen that shows all reviews that come to you any part of the world in English. Ajay, yes, we will share the PPT. How can we understand which guest is referring to which online review forum? Yeah, so the pre-checkout solution that we have addresses this problem for you, sir. So here you are tracking the guest as they check out. So you are not only getting their the TripAdvisor name that they use, which could be different from who they are, but you would also get to know their full name, their email address, their check-in date, and their checkout date collected as they start filling their review formats when they are in your hotel. How to control this? Puneet, uh, probably the next time we would get TripAdvisor to come and answer this question. Um, yeah, but I wouldn't want to talk on the way Trip does this. Um, our advice to hotels have been is that, hey, while Trip is a popular source of data that's coming in, user generated content that's coming in, it's just one of the source. So there are many other places that you can focus on. Google is now catching up big time, so you should probably get Google to populate more reviews on Google so that your ratings on Google goes up. So let's not get blinded by just one brand TripAdvisor. So let's look at kind of spread this across different sources.
Deepak, that's a question from Matthew, Mr. Matthew. How
Yeah.
Capsule helps to improve revenue of a hotel?
Oh, super question, Mr. Matthew. We showed a case study of the stuff that we did with one hotel, and there was revenue improvement of over 150% that we spoke about. Um, so at a high level, there are three things that we do that help you look at revenues and correlate it with your reviews or your reputation. One is the review intelligence solution is always coming up on a daily basis, telling you where you stand insofar as what customers are talking about you. Vis-a-vis not just you, but your entire competition and your competition ranking. Um, there is enough data available here for you to figure out what's right and wrong with your business and take action immediately. So the solution that we have ensures that your action is tracked. So for example, if your housekeeping is not good, you can track the performance of your housekeeping from that day that you start measuring them. So if they are at 70 on 100 and you say, hey, over the next X number of days, we want you to grow from 70 to 80, that's something that you can track. And obviously, when you see all of these growth happening at a department level, you know that your revenues are going to improve. I'm talking, without knowing much about your property, but I just gave you one example. The second thing is on our feedback management system. The pre-checkout module, which is available on Android and iOS, is something that's at real time helping you understand the pulse of your customers. So in a given day, if you're tracking, let's say, a point of sale, which is, let's say, your restaurant, and you're getting a lot of positives for something that's happening well in the restaurant that particular day, you have an opportunity immediately to track that and start improving that, or the other way around, if something's gone wrong, then you can immediately work on making sure that it improves. So this can be done at real time at your level as head of business or at a department head level. And lastly, when you take all of this and use this data effectively, you can go back to the customers talking about what your strengths are, to the right sort of customers, which is what we do. So if a lot of customers are saying that, for example, the Wi-Fi speed is awesome in this hotel, then you know that that's a strength that you can use to attract a type of customer. Maybe a business traveler likes to be in a place where there's good Wi-Fi. So how do you then start using these strengths to grow is also something that we help you do. So in short, these are the three things. I could talk more, or if you have more specific questions, I could answer maybe offline. There is one interesting question here from Mr. SP Reddy. Yeah, how do you compare yourselves with a Review Pro and a Rate Gain? So, these are brands who've been around for 10 plus years. Honestly, the range of products that we have are beyond what all of these companies have. Review Pro has a has a analytics solution and a feedback management solution. Our product is much beyond just analytics and feedback. I mean, Rate Gain has property channel manager and all of other things, but we are purely focused on user-generated content. So our UGC is much more powerful. Our data analytics is much stronger. Our natural language processing, which is the technology that we use behind the bonnet, is very strong, and this helps you to get much more analytics and much more data, and the ability to correlate that data to revenue, something that we do much better. We can go line wise and say what makes us different from others, but in a jiffy, I think the difference for us is the range of products that we cover the customer from the time that they get inspired to the time that they go back to advocate your product is something that nobody else in the world has at this point in time. And I say this with a lot of confidence. Nobody else in the world has, yeah. Mr. Reddy, if you would like to, we could again take this offline and I could share that with you.
Deepak, a quick question from Jacob. I'm not really sure whether you spoke about the micro analytics that you have, where you're able to narrow down specific to, let's say, a coffee shop or a particular restaurant, and say how a particular department is running in terms of overall guest satisfaction. Is that something you want to cover?
Yeah, sure. So I thought it would be going into too much of detail, so that's why I didn't cover. But I was saying the analytics that we do is very strong. So yes, to answer Jacob's point, the way our analytics work is we divide the entity of hotel. We kind of break this into 6 smaller parts. So one is at a hotel level, what's good with your business or what's not so good. We break that then into department level. We capture about 17 different departments. This can be added, subtracted based on the size of your hotel. Then we look at different KPIs that each of these departments have. So for example, like you said, a room has multiple attributes that you connect it to, which could be, decor, AC, fittings, bathroom, etc. And that then further goes into categories and subcategories. So that's the 6 different levels that we capture, right? So for example, if somebody says, I found a cockroach in the toilet, it is important to figure out that it was a cockroach and it was not just a pest that came in there, because your solution to solve that problem should be specific to, ensuring that the cockroach is not there, because that's the complaint that the customer has. So that's the kind of detail that we would go to tell you that 14 people complained that there was a cockroach, or whatever that positive or negative is. So that kind of detail that is done is probably missing in a few of our partners or competitors.
Okay, Deepak, as we are running out of time for this webinar, and we have covered a lot of ground here. Thank you so much for that. I would request all participants who have any further inquiries which have not been asked, or we have unfortunately missed out for whatever reason,
to send in
to
your
send in your
queries
queries
or
or
inquiries
inquiries
to
to
easy@ideasnext.com.
easy@ideasnext.com.
That is
That is
EASY
at
at
ideasnext.com.
ideasnext.com.
We'll
We'll
respond to
respond
you
to you
with
with
specifics about
specifics about this particular solution and any other queries that you may have.
Sure. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Deepak. So we will be sharing the presentation, the PPT of both Jacob and Deepak, along with the video recording to all of you. And thank you so much for the very, very encouraging discussion that we all had. So we'll keep continuing these discussions. And as Jacob said, so you can also keep posting your questions to easy@ideasnext.com. Jacob or Deepak will be able to reply back to you for your questions. Uh, Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next webinar. We'll announce it on our website, and you will also get an email from us. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.